The Flash game, a remembrance of time when you could just surf sites endlessly for games without a goal really in mind. Sites like Miniclip and Addicting Games were two of my favorites to go onto after school or at the library. Something that has been lost in time with the ever-advancing algorithm and reducing attention spans. I don't think it will ever make a comeback. Or has it? Recently I've been surfing across sites like YouTube and I've found a game section with hundreds of games on them. After piquing my curiosity of the ridiculous games I was seeing, I was sucked into the platform, giving me a reminiscent feeling of carelessly playing Flash games hours on end. Was it the same? Well, today I'm going to be talking about the experience that I had on these different platforms that are offering games while having a different form of media as their main focus. But to truly understand the lore of the Flash game, we must go back to the creation of Flash itself. Before the Flash game was even thought of, a company by the name of Future Wave Software created a program called Future Splash Animator. The purpose of the program was to play back animations on a web browser. Future Wave originally was pitched to Adobe in the late 90s, but an agreement was never reached between the two. So in 1997, the company Future Wave was acquired by Macromedia for an undisclosed amount, and the program was renamed to Macromedia Flash. I'm assuming that Macromedia was doing pretty good throughout the years because they sold their company to Adobe for $3.4 billion, and honestly the purchase was mainly to acquire Flash. Now, the advancement of Flash progressed throughout all of these years of bartering, but I'm sure you remember it as the program you needed to play all of your favorite games or go onto your favorite websites. Newgrounds, YouTube, Club Penguin, the list goes on. You virtually needed this to access pretty much anything with the exception of Java. At least there's only like two things I really ever remember needing Java for. Flash presented itself in so many ways, like customizing your YouTube or MySpace page to fit your exact liking, all the way down to the song that plays when somebody goes onto your MySpace profile. But Flash was also there to let you view the most iconic videos from the internet coming from sites like YouTube and Newgrounds. This is where one of the earliest forms of internet virality was even possible, with videos like Numa Numa and Chocolate Rain being etched into my ever-decreasing brain cells. Flash really made all of this possible. One of the most prevalent places I had come across Flash was obviously games. Flash games were a crucial part of killing time on the internet back in the day. Whenever I was bored, I would love to just mindlessly play them. I felt like they were just the right amount of fun and boring, kind of like right in that sweet spot, just enough to keep you entertained to justify wasting hours upgrading a shopping cart. I mean, the range of games were insane here. Classics like Happy Wheels and Line Rider, to fan-made games like Super Smash Flash, that's a tongue twister, and Super Mario 63. I'm sure if you were to go through a list of all these games, there's at least one you must have played or heard of. See, Flash games and just internet games in general were kind of like Instagram in the sense of they were something you could do to pass the time, finally beating the impossible quiz after hours of frustration and anguish, or let's be real, just looking up the guide after an hour of getting pissed off, making a sick course on Line Rider only for it to not work at all unless you use the blob, or even your 10th playthrough of Swords and Sandals. All of these were just unforgettable moments in the 2000s era. And of course, I have to give a shout out to the Ed, Edd n Eddy Candy Machine Deluxe, maybe one of the best games ever. Well, the program Flash itself died out because HTML5 was being used a lot more frequently now. Now, instead of having to download Flash so you could see all of these things on the internet, people were just able to embed it into the site's code. Another big killer of Flash was the use of smartphones. Not only did the iPhone blow up in popularity, but so did the way you use the internet on it. Smartphones on the rise eliminated the need for a PC to access the internet, giving the average, everyday person a more welcoming and bubbly feeling experiencing the internet for the first time. No need for a third-party program to display media on the internet for you. You can just buy a phone, turn it on, and have immediate access to the internet. Not only the internet, but every popular website on the internet easily accessible in a convenient little app. Now, instead of needing to go onto the internet, we have our own personalized way of using the internet on our phone, replacing the need for searching things up on the internet with having the answer right there in front of you instead. We've replaced discovery with convenience. That brings us to today. Our main sources of entertainment being 5 to 30 second videos on an endless stream. Some may say it's a vibe. Most games now are played on console or on Steam, which is not a bad thing at all, but most mindless time-passing games are just played on apps now. Until recently, I have came across a games section on Netflix and on YouTube. Now, the two are pretty different, so let's talk about Netflix first. The subscription of Netflix contains multiple apps that you can download for free. Some of them costing money on the App Store, and some of them being only exclusive to having a subscription on Netflix. This information obviously may have changed from the time that you watch this video. I don't know, you could watch it a year from now and Netflix might not have fucking games, but just, there might be more games on there now, so just go look, I don't know. Honestly, there are some pretty good games on here, like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And Balloon Tower Defense 6, both costing a few shekels on the App Store. Honestly, I'm not here to gripe on the mobile games, for they are exactly what they are. Really, I'm here to talk about a different way of experiencing Netflix and games as one conjoined, unloved twin. Of course, I'm talking about Netflix TV Game Time. That's not the official name of it, but Netflix, if you feel like taking the reins on that one, be my guest. So there I am, scrolling along my Breaking Bad app, and I see a game section. Now, the quality of these games range from okay to kind of boring, with the exception of Oxenfree. For example, like the Happy Gilmore game, it was like alright, I guess. It was kind of like empty feeling PS2 sorta vibe. But it was alright, because, I mean, it was kind of cool to see them put the game from the movie onto Netflix, you know, but it just wasn't doing it for me, Chief. Honestly, that's just kind of how I feel about most of the games on here. I mean, none of them are inherently bad, I just can't seem to find out why they needed to put this section on here. On one hand, I could understand being a kid and not having a console or even a personal phone to play a video game on. In that case, it would come in extremely clutch. But I feel like most kids be having technology and shit now, so. But, that could be the case. On the other hand, I also feel like a lot of these are just basic puzzle games that are kind of just same and serve little value, not really that fun, so. But it's Netflix games, so, gotta take that with how that is. But initially, I could only imagine that they put this section in here to further you on their app, feeding you ads and just keeping you glued to it at all times. But I understand wanting to expand your intellectual property and make yourself more valuable, but I can't help but to feel like a streaming company should maybe focus on making better originals and the show aspect. Maybe that's closed-minded of me to think, but I just feel like spreading yourself thin when your core media isn't crazy strong isn't the best idea. Okay, and this is not me. I'm not trying to shit on Netflix, okay? I like Netflix, okay? I watch Stranger Things. I watch y'all got some bangers on there, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and act like you guys don't have some good shows. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just saying, okay, the games are just like kind of mid. Like, I don't know, put some fucking bangers on there. Put Destroy All Humans, make that playable on my phone and throw it on there, and then I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll fucking buy a subscription for this, what the fuck? But I digress, I wouldn't trust my opinion. I'm not a businessman. I'm just out here. I'm just out here making videos and shit. We got Crossy Road, Fruit Ninja. Those are probably the two most popular IPs, at least at the time of me making this video. But every one of those mobile game ads that you've seen, they deadass have all of those games just on here. They have all of them, and you can just play them. So that's fucking sick. On the other hand, I also feel like there's just a lot of horrible, low effort games on here, like putting together lunchboxes and building sandwiches with extremely baseline graphics and game functions. In a way, it does give me the mindless same gameplay I would tend to get from some old Flash games, although it did feel like there was a bit more functionality in those older games. Alas, I have found myself being fairly entertained for a good amount of hours perusing through these games, but honestly to me, YouTube just seems like a lot more fitting of a platform for the game section. A lot of its content on the platform is gaming, and it just feels a lot more fluid in comparison to Netflix. Now, even though it does sound like I am gassing up YouTube playables, I would like to give my top 3 worst games on this platform. First up, starting strong with this one, we got Sandwich. That's just the name of the game. It's really just like a basic puzzle game where you arrange a sandwich, nothing too extravagant there, but I do have to say they absolutely nailed the name of the game. Sandwich, I mean facts, you know? Sandwich. Next up, we have Lunchbox Ready, an extremely repetitive organizing game, if you can even call it that. It just doesn't really propose any challenge, really. It's not even like satisfying, like, oh, let me organize this and this is like kind of satisfying. It's just kind of like repetitive and boring, so that's fun. And the number 1 spot has to go to Phone Case DIY, which is essentially the same as the Lunchbox game, except you make phone cases out of hot glue. Crazy in-depth lore on that one. I know it's a lot to take in, but I just have to give an honorable mention to Ice Cream DIY. I mean, you can roll out poop ice cream in this game. Just some fucking slopped ass together shit. I did find it rather gross, but pretty entertaining that you could roll poop ice cream and then you can top it with tiny little poops. But all in all, I'd have to say I found YouTube's game section fairly entertaining and definitely a good killer of boredom. As I may not quite feel the same magic as I did from browsing old websites as a kid, I feel sort of a different vibe. A sort of quantity over quality feel to it, and that's saying a lot in reference to old Flash games. Now, that's not to say I didn't have fun, or that there weren't any good games. I just felt as if the amount of shitty baseline games heavily outweighed the good games that really hooked me. I will say both sections provided me a pretty good amount of entertainment. If you have time to waste, or if you don't, then fuck it, why not go check them out? Just whatever you do, please have a good time, and I will see you guys in the next one.